Hello there everybody and welcome back to another video. As you've seen from the title, this one is the work that I've done to a Hornby Peckett B2. So the first thing that I did was I painted it with some grey paint. Nothing special about this, I just mixed up some white and some black paint, watered it down, painted it on, wiped it away with a cotton bud. Pretty simple really. The next step was to use some life colour weathered black. It is an airbrush paint, but as my airbrush is broken, I brush painted it onto the parts of the model. I'd like to have a weathered black appearance. I next used some typhus corrosion to show stressed parts of the smoke box. I also began to start using some metal paints, some metal weathering powders from Tamir, just to change up the shade of the handrails and things like that here. But stressed smoke box, typhus corrosion is actually a textured paint. What that means is that it's got little speckles in it, so it's a really good base to work from if you are weathering something like rust. More weathered black was applied next, along with some roof dirt, just to make some tonal variation in the long flat sections such as the running board and things like that. Tamiya rust was also put on the smoke box, building up that rusty look. Tamiya rust, I like to think, represents quite an older bit of rust, showing that the rust has been on set for a while. I next used Humbrol rust. Now this suggests something that's a lot newer and again helping me tell a story with just one part of the locomotive. You can also see down, I think it's the left hand side of the model, I've added a little bit of rust in an L shape, just because that's where I've seen a couple of prototypes have some rust between the bunker and the cab, so I thought it was worth a shot on this model. I quite like the way it looks. I'm going to show you some pictures that inspired me for this model after this section of the video. I next used some Humbrol, some teacup rather, to clean the locomotive. I've never used teacup before, but it gives a really nice cleaned look. I say cleaned, it's more cleaned as if it's been cleaned with a dirty rag, and that's the look that I quite like, and I think it suits this model. You know, an aging locomotive that's still somewhat cared for, but is clearly on its way out of existence. You know, diesels are coming in, and it's no longer a stall that it once was for service. I removed the buffers next to paint them black and add some splodges to the front of them. As nice as the metal they come in is, won't be particularly realistic, and it's a really nice way of personalising the model a little bit, because very few people that I've seen online have black buffers, so decided to paint mine, add splodges to them, make them look older. I also added some ash to the underside of the smokebox door. Hopefully it gives that impression. Don't know how good it is. I quite like it, but let me know in the comment section below. It then got reassembled. By that I mean I put the buffers back on, and that's that finished. Apart from crew, works plates, shunting tools along the running board, and some coal. That's still quite a bit to do, to be fair. But now let's have a look at some locomotives that I based this on, and then I'll come back to you for some history. Fictional, granted, but still a history, I suppose. You can see I've just chucked a couple of pictures up on screen, all of Colliery shunters, all in about the late 60s, early 70s I think. I don't own any of the pictures, by the way, but hopefully they give impressions of what some Colliery shunters look like in that period of time, and that's what I'd like my B2 to represent, and I think I've got relatively close with it. Maybe it's a little bit too light, I suppose, the weathering on it, but I'm quite a fan of it. I like the rust patch on the front. So, built in 1918, Peckett's Works number 1455 was built for the Ryhope Colliery, where it worked through up until nationalisation. After nationalisation, it was moved to the NCB North Staffs region in 1951, where it was employed on a couple of different collieries, including Berry Hill and Florence. It was moved to Heapton in 1954 to aid in a mild locomotive crisis occurring on the colliery network at the time. It was employed as a shunter, a banker, and it worked paddy trains as well across the network. It was well liked by staff, as they had experience working with Peckett designs, specifically W4 and W6 types, so drivers had an idea of how to get around the cab, and fitters and other members of the servicing team knew how to service and fit the parts of the loco. It served until 1976, when it was moved off-site and later scrapped. Now, I'm really pleased with the work I've done on this. Not necessarily this video, but I'm really pleased with the work I've done on that Peckett locomotive. I will come back to it another time to finish off some bits that I've previously mentioned and probably redo some of the weathering. But I'm really pleased with it. Let me know what you think of the model in the comment section below. It'd be lovely to hear you. And again, let me know how this video is. It's the first one of these I've done in ages. So yeah, let me know any bits that need improving and any bits you enjoyed. And yeah, I guess that's me off. Right, see you in a bit.